The Guard is a movie that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. It's one that I've purposefully avoided reading about the plot. I've been aware that it's been getting great critical praise, brilliant reviews. The reason I've wanted to see it is that it stars two of my favourite actors, Brendan Gleeson and Cheadle, and it's directed by John Michael McDonagh, who is the brother of the guy who directed In Bruges, which to me was one of the kind of standout movies of 2009, I believe that film came out. So The Guard, I went in with really high expectations, and while it didn't quite meet those expectations, I would like to talk about why it didn't quite meet them, and I think a lot of it will come down to the circumstances under which I watched it. First of all, the plot. It's basically about an Irish guard or police officer played by Brendan Gleeson who stumbles across an international drug smuggling ring involving Mark Strong, and has to try and foil it. That's if he can be bothered between taking drugs and sleeping with prostitutes. Meanwhile, a special agent from the FBI, played by Cheadle, has come over from America to help and to try and catch these drug smugglers. So straight away, the film kind of intrigued me. I think this plot of international, almost espionage, in a small Irish village setting is quite interesting, and it kind of reminded me, in terms of narrative, of a film like Hot Fuzz, although stylistically they are completely different. Straight away with this movie, what I loved and what really pulled me in was the score. It is absolutely fantastic. The score is very reminiscent of Sergio Leone's westerns, which was scored by Ennio Morricone, except this score involves like electric guitars and more modern instruments, but it's got a very western edge to it, and I really liked the score, and it pulls you in straight away. And also the performances. Brendan Gleeson's fantastic, but then again he always is. Cheadle does have fun with the role, and I really like the dynamic between the two, Brendan Gleeson being an old-fashioned Irishman who is racist and sexist, and Cheadle is a much more, I don't want to say educated, but a much more worldly kind of person who really has no tolerance for racism and things like that. And seeing the two of them clash is very interesting, and it is done in a subtle way, in that there isn't the big scene where the two of them click and the two of them bond. You know, it is a very slow warming to each other kind of situation that I really liked. Another great performance is Mark Strong as the drug smuggler, as the big bad villain, who is essentially, he's kind of like just a normal guy just doing his job, and he complains about the people they have to interact with being drug smugglers, and complains about the tedium of the routine. And there's one scene towards the end where there's a gunfight, and instead of running when he has the opportunity, Mark Strong would rather stay and have a gunfight because it's fun and it's something different for him to do. So I liked his approach to that character, and to be honest, there wasn't a weak link in the bunch. I honestly thought that the performances across the board were really impressive. I do think that where this film falls down is the sense of humour throughout is a little too specifically Irish, like the encounters with Cheadle and the Gaelic-speaking community. Now, living in England, you know, I do know a little bit about Irish culture, and these jokes did kind of work for me, sometimes didn't, and I think this is where it falls down. It relies a bit too heavily on your knowledge of Irish culture and the Irish sense of humour, which is a little bit different to, well, to everywhere else. It's a lot more English than it is American, though, let's put it that way. So I did kind of get some of the jokes. I thought some of them were trying a little too hard. Now, this is where I get into a problem that really took me out of the film, and it has nothing to do with the film, really, and that is that there were a group of university students sat behind my girlfriend and I, and they were literally laughing at everything. It's like the film had a laugh track. Even scenes which weren't played for laughs, a scene of somebody walking down the street, they were laughing their heads off, and it was really irritating, and it really took me out of the film, because certain scenes that were obviously played straight and played for an emotional resonance almost, these idiots were laughing at it, and I got the impression that they went in expecting to find it the funniest film of the year, as the posters claim, and felt like they should be laughing laughing because it sounded fake when they were laughing, and it was really irritating. But I think that's highlights the problem with the sense of humour of the movie. I think that a lot of people have been kind to this movie, despite the fact that it isn't as funny, and it's not as good as the praise would have you believe. Although, don't get me wrong, I did really enjoy it. Visually, it's a very classic movie. It's shot on film, and it does look wonderful. The Irish landscape and countryside is beautiful, beautifully done. There are a few scenes reminiscent of the Coen brothers, especially a scene of a policeman being executed by the group of drug smugglers who he pulls over at the side of the road at night. That's very Coen brothers. It's littered with little movie references, and what I liked about Brendan Gleeson's character is he keeps referring to the movie. He says, I'm going to put out a county-wide alert, and he's like, what do we call those in the films? APBs, and he almost wants to be in a movie, and I quite liked that little spin on the film. So overall, I did really enjoy it. The performances are good. What little action there is quite well done. I imagine this is how gunfights would really go. Quite mundane and nothing out of the ordinary, but I thought the action was well done. Like I said, the performances were great. The direction was good, and the score was fantastic. The score was the best part of the film for me. And I did really enjoy it, and would highly recommend it for fans of In Bruges, but don't go in expecting another In Bruges, because it is not as good. In Bruges is a masterpiece, in my opinion, a very bleak, dark masterpiece, and The Guard just doesn't have that edge, although it does boast an ambiguous ending, which I actually loved. I thought the ending made the film. So I would highly recommend this movie, but I wouldn't go in expecting it to be the best film of the year. Like I almost did, I almost thought this would be the best film of the year after reading reviews and seeing the poster with all the praise on it. I thought, this is going to be my favourite film of the year. Unfortunately, I was let down, probably by my high expectations, but it is definitely an above-average film that I will have to watch again on the small screen when I don't have a group of idiot university students sat behind me laughing at everything. I think it will be a grower. I think that this time next year, maybe I will have changed my tune and I'll like it a lot more. But at the moment, I would recommend The Guard. It is an above-average, decent drama.